Here we are, tier 3, dynamic movement, gotten a lot warmer now. You know, we're continuing along the posterior chain work for the day. And one of the most important exercises or movements that we do in daily life in general is a bending motion, right? When you bend, you are lengthening your posterior chain. And then when you come back up, you are engaging your posterior chain. Okay, that's glutes and hamstrings, low back, right? So what I'm going to teach you today is essentially how to bend properly. And if you're in the fitness world, how to deadlift properly. Now you could do this with a ton of different things. It doesn't matter what you pick up. It's just that you're picking something up off the ground. I have a 10-pound ball here. You can use milk jugs. You can use water jugs. You can use boxes. Whatever you have at home to pick something up and load your movement, you can use whatever you want, okay? That's not the point. It's just that you're practicing the bending and then eventually loading as you go along and as you get stronger. So with this 10-pound ball, I'm going to stand directly over it. My feet are going to be just on either side of it. Now what I'm going to do to initiate this bend, this hinge as it's known, is I'm going to push my hips back. So watch as I do this. I'm going to guide my hips back. Now as I guide my hips back, my chest is then going to have to lean forward, right? This is kind of how I create a fulcrum in my hips and create counterbalance with my chest. So just so you can see, I'll pop this guy off. It's out of the way. My hands are on my hips. I'm going to push my hips back. And then I'm going to then slide my hands down towards whatever I'm going to pick up. Now if you were to look at my back, as I do that, my back stays extremely flat as I guide my hips back. Okay? It never rounds. So I'll show you a poor example. This is very important. This is how most people hurt their backs as they're bending over to grab something. Is they'll quickly go down and they'll round like so, and then their spine is not engaged and set properly, and then that's how we herniate a disc or pull a muscle in our back. It's not what you want, so you want to set yourself up properly. Okay? So before you even do a weight, what you're going to do is you're going to have your hands on your thighs, and you're going to push your hips back to slide the hands down the thighs, then maybe down the knees, down the shins, keep the back flat. Let's do 10 of those right now, just to warm up this motion a little bit. Practice the form. I'm at 2. Really focus on keeping the back flat. 3, 4. You can go slower than I am. Notice that my feet are nice and flat. My arches are strong. 6. I'm squeezing my glutes at the top, really driving my hips forward. You can see my chest. As I go down, my chest is open and tall. Do one more. Okay. Now, grab whatever you want. Press pause in the video if you need to be able to load yourself a little bit. And if what you just did as a warm-up set felt appropriate and you don't need to grab anything to load, then don't. That's totally fine. Okay? We're going to do 15 reps here. 15. So that means that you should load yourself properly for 15 reps, right? So let's go ahead and begin. Your feet are going to be on either side of the ball. Guide your hips back. Keep your chest up. Drop down. My hands are going to go on either side. Grab the ball. Stand all the way up. Go back down slowly. Rest the ball for a second. Repeat. Now there is a proper breathing pattern for this to consider. What I would do is take a breath right now. Exhale as I stand. Take a breath. Exhale as I stand. I'm at 8. I got 7 more. Go at your own pace. You can go a little slower than I am. One more. Now, if you're feeling your back in any way feel uncomfortable as you do that, then it's likely something is not working the right way. What we really want to feel is our legs, our glutes, hamstrings, maybe some thighs. And it's not to say that your back isn't working, but it shouldn't be working more than everything else. If your back is working harder, something to consider is when you go down to it, push the hips back, but think of tightening your abs as you do that. So I'm going to push my hips back, but I'm going to crunch here in the abs. And what that does is just stabilize the back a little bit more if you need it. So consider that as well as you're doing those reps for the next set, or if you notice your back working a lot previously, then consider that, as I said, for the next set. Okay, now, immediately after that, we have a straight leg deadlift, or a good morning, a couple versions. So what we just did is we pushed our hips back, and then I dropped down towards the floor. You can see that my knees bent a fair amount as I did that. Now, your legs are going to bend much less, and you're going to bend forward more in this hinging motion. So watch my knees. My knees are slightly bent. Barely. Now I'm going to bend at the waist, keeping my shoulder blades back, and my knees are not going to bend anymore. So now I feel a big stretch in my hamstrings here, and I'm going to squeeze my glutes to come back up. Push the hips back, my knees are not bending. Squeeze the glutes to come back up. It doesn't mean that my knees aren't slightly bent, okay? As I said earlier, they stay slightly bent. They're just not bending more as I bend forward. Aim for the stretch in the hamstrings, squeeze the glutes to come back up. Inhale down, exhale up. Now we're going to do 15 of those as well. Two different things that you could do to load. If you put your hands up here, this is more of like a good morning, which is essentially the same thing. You're just loading yourself up higher. But I can have my hands here on my ears, bend forward, squeeze the glutes to come back up. Or I hold my weight here in front of me. Same thing. I bend forward, pushing my hips back, but my knees don't bend, and I'm not going to the ground. So you can use those milk jugs, water bottles, whatever you did earlier to do the same thing and do 15. So I'm going to continue on with 15 of these. I'll say about 4 there. Inhale down, exhale up. Every time I go down, I'm feeling a stretch in my hamstrings. The backs of my legs are stretching each time I drive my chest down and my hips back. I'm at 11. Take this slow for yourself. Remember, I could be moving a little quicker than you are. You can take your time, and you could also do less reps than I am, and that's totally okay as well. 2 more for myself. All right, there's 15. That's the second exercise. So we got the deadlift straight into the straight leg deadlift. Now, we're going to get into this bent over position again, and be mindful of how your back is feeling right now if you notice anything. Because bending forward again, you may notice that the back is getting a little tired. Now, this can always be done differently if your back is getting tired, and I'll show you that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get in this bent over position again. Similar to what you were just doing. You're going to drop your chest, push your hips back. My knees are not bending a lot, okay? They're slightly bent. But my chest is almost as close to parallel with the ground as I can manage, okay? Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring both my hands out to my side. Okay, as if I was flying on the edge of the Titanic here, okay? I chest down, arms out to my side. I'm going to make a tight fist with my thumbs pointed forward, okay? I'm looking at the ground, Okay? Now this position in itself is tough. It's really hard to just hold yourself there. And then what we're going to do with the shoulders now is going to be really hard and engaging for the shoulders, specifically good for the postural part of the shoulder that opens up your shoulders, posterior deltoid. So my chest is down, my back is flat. If you were to look at my back is flat. Now I'm going to keep my arms as high off the ground as I can there. Now, keeping that position, no movement whatsoever other than thumbs rotating down and back. And then thumbs rotating up and back. The height of my hands stays exactly where they are. My chest stays down exactly where I placed it. Now I'm going to do something between 7 and 10 of these. These are really hard on the shoulders, on the core. You're going to feel yourself get real warm real fast. But every time I move my thumbs down and back, I drive hard down and back. Then when I go up and back, I go hard up and back, squeezing the fist, keeping the height of the shoulders here. I'm breathing. I'm starting to get real warm now. Shoulders are burning. Chest is staying down where it is. Really slow. You want to maintain that even tempo. I'm almost done. I'm going to do one more. And that's it. Okay? So take your time on that. I would suggest between 5 and 10. I said 7 and 10 earlier for myself. Do 5 and 10 for yourself. Between 5 and 10 for yourself. Those are the 3 dynamic movements. You have the deadlift. Straight into the straight leg deadlift with a good morning. And then the hinge shoulder rotation. Okay? Go through those 3 exercises at least one more time, possibly 2 more times. And thank you guys for completing today. You've just gone through all 3 tiers. Hopefully you've gotten a good workout. Your body's feeling pretty good. Appreciate your guys' support. And keep going. Keep working. Don't forget about your body. Don't forget about your health. I'm here to support you.